Hello everyone, this is Michael from Blue Road Home Studio. It is cold outside and there's a storm moving in, so I am out here in the North Garden and I am ready to give you your weekend music production tip, Christmas edition. That's right, everyone. It's been a while since I've done a weekend music production tip, and it's funny that I'm picking this one, which is going to actually fall on Christmas Eve, because Christmas this year falls on a weekend. So I thought I would actually do a video about a couple very popular Christmas songs that you know very well, but I just wanted to give you some background information on them, which I find kind of interesting, and some things that you probably don't know about these songs. And also I want to get into why it's kind of tough to write Christmas songs in this particular era or this particular period of time, or at least write a Christmas song that's really successful. I will get into why I haven't been doing these videos as of late, and just some stuff about what I'm gonna plan to do for 2022 at the end of the video, but it's all good stuff. Now let's get into the music. So if you're gonna be listening to Christmas songs this weekend, I am pretty sure one of the songs you're going to listen to is White Christmas by Bing Crosby, made famous by the movie White Christmas 1954. But funny enough, this isn't the first time the song White Christmas has appeared in a movie. There's actually multiple versions that were recorded of White Christmas. There is actually a missing verse. So there's what I would like to call the lost verse. It's a lyric verse that you've probably never heard because it never appeared in the version that was sung by Bing Crosby in White Christmas. Now, we have to go back 10 years earlier, or about 10 years earlier. The original writer of the song White Christmas was Irving Berlin. Now, Irving Berlin wrote the song White Christmas, and Bing Crosby was the first performer to actually record vocals for the song, but it was actually in 1942 for a movie called Holiday Inn. Now, some of you may have heard of or seen Holiday Inn, but it's definitely not as well known of a movie as White Christmas. And White Christmas is definitely the movie that launched the song White Christmas into the stratosphere, so much so that the song White Christmas has become a true Christmas classic. But there's actually a verse that you probably never heard, because the version you hear most often is from the movie White Christmas. And let me read you the lyrics to that missing verse, because it'll put the song in a little bit of a different context for you. The sun is shining, the grass is green, the orange and palm trees sway. There's never been such a day in Beverly Hills, LA, but it's December the 24th, and I am longing to be up north. So it's really interesting because the song was actually written in Beverly Hills, California. And for those of you that know California or that live in California, you will know that December is usually a rather sunny month. It's generally not very snowy, depending on where you are. But I think this is kind of fascinating to actually read this and know that this song was actually written in California, and it shows a sense of longing for a different Christmas, which is what a lot of Christmas songs have as motifs. It's that kind of longing, that longing for snow, that longing for family, or being far away from home, like I'll be home for Christmas. Examples like that, you know, are plenty in Christmas songs. So anyway, when you're listening to White Christmas by Bing Crosby, just know that there is this missing verse that is pretty hard to find. And that's actually pretty common with a lot of the songs that we consider classics. There's actually different versions of them, and oftentimes verses and certain lyrics did get left out of the recordings that made it into these films, which actually made the songs go very popular into the mainstream. This includes songs by Ella Fitzgerald, it includes even Somewhere Over the Rainbow. There are different versions with different lyrics out there. Now, another song that I want to talk about is Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You, which was recorded back in 1994. In fact, it was released in November of 1994. Now, here's a little interesting fact for you. This song just broke the top 100 of the Billboard charts back in 2019. That actually breaks a record as the longest trip a song has ever taken to number one. In fact, it took 25 years for this song to actually reach number one on the Billboard hits. Now, don't get me wrong, in 1994, when this song was released, it was an instant hit, and it has made a lot of money over the years. It's just interesting that it actually didn't make number one on the Billboard charts until just 2019. It's kind of fascinating. Now, a couple interesting things about this song. It was written by Mariah Carey, and it was also written by Walter Afanasieff. And I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing his name correctly, but just two writers on this. It was Mariah Carey and Walter. And the publishing of this song is owned by Universal Music Group. Now, if you watched my last video, which was a while ago, on music publishing, what you should have taken away from that video was the concept of your publishing share versus your writer share in the ownership of music. So just to kind of go back to that video, I'd recommend watching it. It's a part one of music publishing. I haven't done the part two yet. If you haven't watched that video, I do recommend you go back and watch it just so that you understand the concept of your publishers versus your writers' share. It's very important to know. But if you did watch it, you'll probably know this. So Universal Music Group owns the rights to All I Want for Christmas Is You. So in other words, they basically control the master. They are the ones that can place that song wherever they want. And believe me, they have placed it everywhere. It's everywhere on radio, at least what's left of radio. It's in lots of TV shows. It's in movies. It's appeared in so many different places. And Universal Music Group, as a result of owning the publishing, they make a lot of money. But let's remember, Mariah Carey and Walter, the co-writers, they split the writer's share. So they also make a lot of money from the writer's share. Specifically, when this track has been played over so many years on the radio, just terrestrial radio, they make tons of royalties from their writer's share. And they get those writers' shares, or the royalties from the writers' shares, from their performance rights organizations or their PROs. So they might be under ASCAP or BMI. I'm not sure which one Mariah Carey or Walter is under, or they might be under different ones. But that's where they receive their royalties from all the placements in TV, terrestrial radio. Now, interestingly enough, and this is where your tip comes in today, but these PROs, or these performance rights organizations, they don't actually pay anything for streaming royalties on Spotify or Apple Music. No, that's actually handled by the distributors. So if you've released music to Spotify and to Apple Music and all the other platforms, you've probably gone through TuneCore, or you've gone through DistroKid or some other source. Now, in the case of All I Want for Christmas Is You, the distributors, most likely Universal Music Group, they have deals directly with Spotify, Apple Music, and all the other streaming services. So they will collect the writers' royalties or the streaming royalties for Mariah Carey and Walter. And Mariah Carey and Walter do make a lot of streaming royalties because, especially around Christmas time, this song is streamed a lot. So this has been a very profitable song for Mariah Carey and Walter and Universal Music Group. So what's interesting, though, about this song itself is this was released in 1994, and it became an instant Christmas classic. And I say instant Christmas classic in the terms of it's not actually that old of a song. I mean, I wouldn't consider 1994 like a classic era of music per se. Classic in the sense of the word classic. But this did become a Christmas classic. It is played every year. People know it worldwide. And again, in 2019, it hit the top 100. But why is it difficult to write Christmas songs these days, and why is that song an anomaly? Because most modern Christmas songs that come out today never reach that level of classic Christmas music. And there's a couple reasons. The most obvious is there's a lot of Christmas songs out there, and at this point, all the themes have kind of been done, so it's really hard to come up with a unique theme. Now, I'm not sitting here telling you don't try, because there may be another one. There may be another Christmas song that comes out in 2022 that could just very well become the next Christmas classic. It's very possible. It's just very hard to do. And a lot of artists generally shy away from this because they know it's just been done and it's just really hard to write. Now, I'm not talking about artists that are covering old classic songs. I am talking about completely writing a new song out of the blue and having that become a Christmas classic. It is very tough to do. Now, I'm going to read you something by a professor of popular music analysis at the University of South Wales. His name is Paul Carr. His argument is that most Christmas songs that we have come to love have really stemmed from the early 70s and before. And there's a very interesting reason that he brings up for this. And here's exactly that. There's a generational effect where we inherit the Christmas tunes beloved by our parents and grandparents. We pass these records on to our kids, we listen to them, and consequently, these records seem to have this cyclical impact on generations. Now he continues, nostalgia is a powerful force in popular culture, particularly around Christmas. Christmas pop songs are all about nostalgia. Think about White Christmas, which is the biggest selling song of all time. And I think that's true. As we mentioned, a lot of these Christmas songs are very nostalgic, and it makes sense. Like a lot of the songs that we grew up with listening to at Christmas were played by our parents, and they listened to the songs that their parents were listening to at Christmas. So these older classic Christmas songs have kind of been handed down and handed down. We look at them now as nostalgia. We play these songs and we think back on Christmases past. So that's why it is kind of unusual that a song in 1994 that Mariah Carey wrote became almost as popular as White Christmas. So for your weekend music listening, I'm sure you're just going to be listening to Christmas music. But when you hear White Christmas by Bing Crosby, remember, there is a lost verse. And hey, tell your family about it. Tell your friends about it. They'll be really impressed that you know that. Now, at the top of the video, I mentioned that I haven't done one of these weekend music production tips in a while. And simply, I just had a lot of music stuff come in at the end of 2021. And it's all good stuff. Projects that are going to be going into 2022. Another reason, though, I find it difficult to come up with a new topic that you might find interesting each week. I was kind of hoping that I would get more questions, people leaving me more comments, and I could kind of base the episodes around those questions. There's a lot of topics to discuss in music production. It's kind of endless, actually. If you are celebrating Christmas, I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. If you are celebrating the holidays, very happy holidays to you, and a very happy New Year to you. And for all of you creative artists out there, whether you're doing music or film production or game design or whatever, literature, anything, I wish you all the very best for 2022, and I wish you all continued success or new success, depending on where you are. And I hope these videos have helped you in some way, at least the videos that I've done this year. But as always, everyone, keep being creative, keep producing music, and I will see you soon.